welcome back. We're still in Woodmead and we're talking trade unions, we're talking workers and some of the issues that have come up so far, insourcing, outsourcing, labour brokers, which have become quite a critical thing, and also the level of union activity. Young people seem to be unconvinced. President Tsepo Matlala 123 says that from a youth perspective, the Cosatu leadership sounds like they're living in the 80s. They're not buying your story.
I said that point earlier before they said that's how they think. We have to do our bit to get them on board.
Okay, let's go to the floor. We've got Professor Pendler, who is a Domestic Workers Advocacy Forum. Where are you, Professor?
Good morning, leadership. My question will sound redundant because we've been talking about labor broking, but it's a very, very serious concern where I'm standing because it devastates especially domestic workers.
Sure.
And it shouldn't be the position because when I employ a domestic worker, it's a one-on-one. But it happens in such a way that these people take something like 40 to 60% of the poor domestic worker's salary. For instance, if an employer is paying 3,500, the poor domestic worker gets 1,500. Believe me, I deal with these issues every day.
Yeah.
So what is Cosatu doing? We are a non-profit organization, a non-partisan, and we're fighting for the rights of the basic conditions of employers, employment. But these problems, we fight them every day. And of course, long hours, because some of these workers work 7 days a week, starting from 6 o'clock up to 9 o'clock after Mubango. So, I mean, these are problems which are there. So for me, I see this as a form of enslaving our people forever. Because the poor employer is not happy because the employee is not happy. But when the employer is in actual fact paying a good salary, which is not going to these pockets.
Yeah.
And by the way, we also cater for security guards. They have so many problems. I went to a hospital somewhere in Montana. I met a group of workers, cleaners. They were telling me that they come in at about 6 o'clock, but at the end of the day, although they do the recording, or do they call it recording?
Clocking.
Yes, locking in. And at the end of the day, they are surprised to see that they have got only 176 hours, when they know that they've put in something like 200 and plus. And at that hospital, it was even worse because they told me that they don't have annual leave. They are compelled to take a day every month. At the end of the day, they don't have a long yearly annual leave. What are we doing about this?
Okay.
Thank you.
Whilst you've still got the microphone, I just want to ask you perhaps, why do employers use labour brokers when they need domestic workers? There must be a reason that they're doing that.
You know, it's very strange. I was informed that they use labour brokers because they have trained domestic workers. That is not true. Where we are, we train domestic workers. In fact, we started as a placement agency where we get our once-off 1,500, and then after that, the domestic worker will go on with their lives. But then we realized that, no, you know, this is very serious because these people come back and tell us that there are other people who will just get these domestic workers and they rip them off because they don't get paid directly by the employer but by this middle person. So it's devastating, especially on a one-to-one basis. Maybe with bigger organizations, it's better. My problem is, why is it happening to the people who are providing the blue-collar services? Why not with us as professors when we are already getting more money?
Okay.
Thank you.
So why is it happening? I mean, look, there are laws about working hours. So if people are breaking those laws, surely it's as simple as reporting them and bringing them to book. Why is that not happening? And then the question about the labor brokers taking huge monies. Estate agents have sorted that out. There's a fixed percentage that you're allowed to charge on each transaction. Why don't we just do that with labor brokers and carry on?
Yeah. Firstly, there is what we call the sectoral determinations, where the Department of Labor has already determined how much pay should be for the domestic worker. And that's what the professor indeed says, it's being stolen by the labor broker, because the employee would have not been aware that she already enjoys that right given by the law. It is the law of this government. A particular percentage is paid. It's criminal, actually, as we are saying it. And I believe if we have to push this thing harder for the criminalization or act, we can arrest quite a lot of people. There are many criminals walking free here who are stealing from these workers. Cosatu has identified that problem. We have organized also the domestic workers. There's a union that works with us of the domestic workers, and would wish all should be part of that union so that we are able to talk, we are able to help others, but some are hiding behind those criminals.
All right, so let me ask the question again. The labor brokers must be providing a service of some kind, because it's easier for someone to go to an agent, like a placement agency, maybe, to get a service for someone. Why don't we just cap their commission?
Labor brokers are blood-sucking agents of the people of this country. They have no mercy. They absolutely are greedy agents who just want money to make a profit. That is why we say they must be banned. There is no negotiations, Peter, about labor brokers.
Are you saying they can't be policed? They can't be...
No, you can't police
don't
labor
need
brokers.
policing
You
them.
can't police labor brokers. They
Outlaw
are
that.
unscrupulous, modern-day slave masters. They are terrible. They've even threatened, working with some formations, that they will take the government to court if it bans them.
Okay. Zwantile is on table number 2, 3 now.
I was not going to speak, Peter,
Yeah.
just that you mentioned the universities.
Yeah.
And I said that you are asking wrong people. That's a Cosatu leadership.
Okay.
The workers in university are organized by the National Education, Health and Allied Workers Union.
Yeah.
Come and ask us.
Okay.
If you say that the university security is not their core business, but the student, it is their core business, isn't it? Yes. Now, I go to Rose University and ask why the students are being raped. What happened to the security company? Because they are not within the discipline of the university. The university can do absolutely nothing of them not working. Go to the hospitals and ask why nurses are being raped. They are being raped because the state thought that to have private security is much more efficient. There's absolutely nothing efficient about private companies. Because what they do, they take Peter to Bara for the whole night. In the morning, they take the same Peter to Helen Joseph. When Peter is there, he's fast asleep. Criminals do whatever they like. That's the reason why Nihau has been succeeded to convince universities to insert security company. As we speak, our kitchen workers, our cleaners that were being paid 2,500. As we speak, we just concluded an agreement in the University of Cape Town. Nobody is going to be paid less than 9,835 before tax. Now, any Jik and Jean who says that Cosatu is not working, that person must find the nearest truck and let him bump by the truck or ask Latemo to it, because that's the lie. That's the Cosatu affiliate. And we're not declining. Well, of course, we don't deny that there are problems. Now, there's this perception that youth, because they are IT, they speak English from Liverpool, therefore they better. The most people who are complaining, particularly in IT, are dismissed almost every day. The employer doesn't care whether you are 18 years old or you're 56. The only thing they want from you is production, is to make money. That's it. Whether you're young or blue or yellow or green is immaterial. So youth must stop speaking English, must come to the unit of workers so that they can be protected and stop mourning outside of it simply because they were born after 1994. By the way, what is born free about someone who's born in the squatter camp? What is born free about someone who cannot have electricity and water? It's a fallacy. It's a lie. We can't stop people who want to have a federation because of the ideological problem. The reality in Cosatu is an international matter. Where do we go? Do we go to ITUC or do we go to WFTU? Who are those international organizations that are sharing the same sentiment with Cosatu? Particularly on the issue of the Palestinian people. Which federation international that support Israel to kill the children of Palestine? So the fact that Zolism is having his own federation is simple because ideologically we've departed.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for your thoughts. Okay, Milton Friedman, economist, says that unions produce higher wages at the expense of fewer jobs. Discuss. He says that what you do as unions is you get higher wages for your workers, but what that does in turn is creates fewer jobs because the employer is employing less.
You know, we're busy negotiating now a national minimum wage. And we are saying as Cosatu, at least if it could be pegged around 4.5 and 5,300. But you, Peter, you buy grocery, probably as a modern family man, you are 3. Or you are 4 people at home, excluding your extended family members. You buy groceries every month for 3,500. And that's the minimum. Add other things, it goes up to 4,000. That's the general. So when 60% of the working people are earning less than 4,500, actually some earn nothing. Restaurant workers are dependent on tips. What is the esteemed Mr. Friedman talking about? That's a reality. We're dealing with reality here in South Africa that a lot of people do not earn decent salaries. That's what Cosatu is dealing with.
So what do we need to do then? I hear the story, the plight of the worker, and for sure, I don't understand how some people survive on the salaries that they get. The other side of the coin is what's happening in the mining industry, where you push these salaries and they get to a point where the commodity prices have come so far down that we just can't afford to keep people employed, and we shut down the mines. So what do? Do you say, I'd rather work for less and keep on working, or do we say, okay, shut the mines down?
Even there, Peter, in the mines, the mine bosses are not remunerating mine workers sufficiently. So it's a fallacy that they are, if you improve wages, you will destroy jobs. No, it won't. Remember, these workers also have dependents. If you pay them little, how are they going to feed their families?
And that I hear, and I'm just saying, but we're seeing mines shedding thousands and thousands of jobs.
They are not shedding jobs because unions are demanding high wages.
In 2012, to 2014, we were told platinum was a commodity that was not selling. Indeed, we would see the figures, it would be less than 1,000 rands. But go to their financials and see how much profits they made during that period when they were keeping the stocks and not selling platinum. They made huge profits. Now the platinum is picking up. I saw it yesterday, it's 1,050. They still make a profit. What will they always be saying? They'll say, no, the strikes have been too long. There's violence in the strikes. We may close down. Sometimes they don't close down. They just pile up and keep the stocks. So they will still sell and make a profit. I don't buy that argument. Actually, those who make a decision to close down, it's largely due to them mismanaging their business. Okay. That's why they close down.
All right, we'll get back
Secondly,
to...
Peter,
yeah.
whilst they are making that argument, they are still paying the CEOs in the mining sector exorbitant salaries. The CEOs are getting increases that the workers, general workers, are not getting.
Okay.
The salary of one CEO can pay many workers. Who is eating there in that situation?
All right, we'll get back to the issue of strikes and social disruption just now. But in the meantime, we go to Hulisani, who's, I'm not sure which table you are, so you're going to have to stand and we'll get a microphone to you.
Thank you very much, Peter, and thank you to the leadership of Cosatu. I think first I want to acknowledge the role that Cosatu has played in raising the issues of the workers. But I also want to also say perhaps what is really affecting the continuing dwindling membership of the unions is that most of the time of late, when you see the leadership of Cosatu talking, it's more so in the organizational politics of the ruling party than the issues of the workers. I think that is the first challenge. The second challenge is that I want to challenge the leadership of Cosatu, is to increase the diversity of the leadership in Cosatu. If you look at all the affiliates of Cosatu, you hardly see a woman. I don't know of one where you see a woman. So that is a challenge that is also affecting the dwindling membership and more so the activation of the youth to participate in the struggles of the workers. That is what will make the youth see Cosatu and other affiliates as more relevant as opposed to seeing them in the light of organizational politics of the ruling party.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Zwelenzi Mavavi says that workers need a new labor federation that's independent and not politically influenced. What's wrong with that statement?
Correction, Peter. He says they need an independent labor federation that is not apolitical. That means they need an independent federation, labor federation that is political.
Apolitical means not political.
No, he says that is not apolitical, which means a federation that is not politically neutral. That's what they are fighting for. That's why you'll hear them talking about the United Front and the DA wanting him to contest as the deputy mayor in Nelson Mandela. The reality here is that the labor issues, I'm now coming to the question,
Yes.
are political.
Yeah.
Labor issues are very, very political, And they don't start at the workplace. They start at home where you stay as a worker. And you do not then ignore the community struggles as a trade unionist or rather as a worker and say, I'm a worker. I only deal with worker issues, because then you'll ignore the need for water, for electricity, for decent housing, for everything that you need at a social basis. So a trade union worth its salt is conscious about the issues. The criticism, though, is that at a public level, people hear Cosatu talking about issues of the ANC.
Yeah.
There are members of the CEC here. We must listen and have a discussion on how to manage that. Let's take that criticism. But politics, ngumsebenzi, is part of my life.
And that's fair enough in your individual capacity. But now the question I'm asking you is, what if I like what the EFF is saying? Do I have to leave Cosatu?
No.
No.
Not
We
at
don't
all.
have. Peter, we have members in Cosatu who belong to all the political parties
Then
we have in this
why
country.
are you endorsing the ANC?
We are in an alliance
We are-
with the ANC.
Is that not what the issue is that he's raising?
No. He's not raising that issue. I don't think he has a problem with the alliance with the ANC. He says our worry is that we hear Cosatu talk
Talking
about
more.
the issues of the ANC more than the issues of the workers in South Africa.
All
And
right.
that Cosatu must
You-
look into.
You're in alliance. Does that mean that you can police them, the ANC and the government? Because if you're part of them or part of that alliance, it makes it difficult for you to put pressure on them, surely.
It has never been difficult, Comrade President. We've been struggling for workers' issues even though we are in alliance with the ANC. The recent example I can give
Yeah.
is the annuitization,
The pension tax.
the pension tax.
But why did it get that far? I mean, if you're sitting at the table together, surely you would have sorted that out long before it got to points of strike.
Because it's not a relationship of romantic engagements. It's hard. The alliance, your issue to go through.
in.
And I wanted to make a rider
Yeah.
shortly in a
Yeah.
second. There is not a single trade union here in South Africa outside Cosatu that has fought for workers, even if it meant challenging the government or the ANC, than these Cosatu unions.
Okay. Alfred is on table number 3. Alfred Mafuleka, I think.
Oh,
Thank you, Peter. Good morning, and South Africans. Cosatu is waging a lot of struggles on the ground. One of them is on e-tolls. And we must correct that perception because the basic issue on e-tolls, Cosatu's fight mainly is on reliable transport, public transport for the ordinary citizen. But what I want to ask the Cosatu leadership on e-tolls, the latest from Sanral is that now they've started issuing summons to drivers. How can Cosatu assure an ordinary poor driver that they will be protected in Gauteng, and also stopping Sanral from expanding to the rest of South Africa with this ill-fated system of e-tolls? Thank you.
So, you have the ear of your alliance partner.
Yeah.
Why are they not convinced about your message on e-tolls?
If we are sitting and hoping we'll be hugging each other and get issues given to us, no, it doesn't happen like that. Cosatu must mobilize, organize, get on the ground, campaign against the e-tolls for a public transport that is affordable, accessible, safe for the worker to be able to use freely in South Africa. And that's the campaign we are on right now. And we are continuing on that particular campaign.
But what's the use of the alliance then if you have to keep on marching and striking? Surely you should just go sit in an office and say, "Gents,
This alliance has been very, very good for the workers of this South Africa. History will tell you. You have the Labour Relations Act, you have the policies that were negotiated through this alliance. Talk about the RDP policy then, which has lately been abandoned for other things. Talk about a range of gains that workers in this South Africa have and still enjoy through this alliance. We are not going to dump it, Peter, because suddenly you feel that you don't like it, not you.
Yes.
We will measure our gains, our challenges within this alliance, and we are guided by our own congresses now and again, because that's where we evaluate and take a decision to support or not.
Okay. So it may come to a time when they say, look, this ANC thing is not working for us anymore.
It's possible.
And then Cosatu will walk away.
It's possible.
So you're guided by your memberships.
Our members.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Lutando, table number 2.
Morning, leadership. I think we need to confirm that affiliates leadership is on the ground. Yesterday, the NUM leadership was in Free State.
Yeah.
Today, the NUM leadership is in the Northern Cape. And secondly, to attest to Cosatu's gains is in the tax amendment. I think that Cosatu needs to pat itself on the back. But 2 questions, leadership. One is, how do we relax the current requirements of the UIF to access the funds for the training layoff schemes? This is in light of the mitigating against the current bloodbath on job losses in South Africa, especially in the mining industry. Yeah. The second one speaks to South Africa has a poor record on health and safety, especially in transport, construction, and mining industry. How do we consolidate a stronger campaign to ensure that CEOs of these companies are taken to task for the deaths, but also are actually jailed for these fatalities? Thank you.
Okay. If you could be brief, because we're running out of time.
Lutando, that's a struggle we must pursue. It's not going to come easy. We need a united Cosatu, united affiliate leadership to pursue the struggle and challenge the issues that you are raising.
Okay, that's brief for sure. Okay, Labour Minister Mildred Oliphant last year said, strikes have become a fashion statement to show how much support a union has rather than furthering the aims of workers. Discuss.
I disagree with that.
Not true. Strikes, actual Cosatu and Cosatu unions embark on a strike as a last resort.
Yes.
Through rigorous engagement with the employers. Then when things come to crunch, we then embark on a strike.
Why are they so violent sometimes and disruptive, actually? We had your, is it Teti, traffic shutting down the highway. The highway between Pretoria and Johannesburg, if you shut that down for an hour, we could be talking millions of rands lost.
Sure.
That is not useful. Is there no other way of making these strikes work, but without having such social disruption?
It's possible to do so, but it's a joint responsibility between employers and us as trade unions. Firstly, employers not creating conditions for a strike. We don't enjoy going to a strike. We're taking responsibility on areas where our strikes can become violent. We work with the police to do their work. We are also conscious of the fact that not largely within Cosatu, and I'm not going to talk about other unions who have embarked on violent strikes and people have died. But here in Cosatu, we try as much to monitor our strikes. But strike itself, it's a very violent activity, by the way. Before you even hit somebody, already there is violence because of the circumstances. So So we have to all material times ensure that we guard our strike activities to avoid those things that we are talking about.
But the workers are the ones that suffer in the end. You strike for 3 months, whatever increase you get has been wiped out by the 3 months that you weren't at work. Surely there's a better way to manage this process. Post office. I can't remember the last time I used the post office, because the last time I tried to send a parcel, it took 3-4 months. Now I don't trust them, which means the workers are vulnerable as a result of the consumer saying, I can't trust them. What do we do?
Yeah, look, as I say, there is a response. We're using a good example of the post office strike.
Yeah.
You know, those workers there at the post office, they are ever on strike because on the other side, the employer is not listening to them. Maybe government is also not coming quite handy. There's a problem there. At one point, those workers were kept out for over a year. We had to bring them back and have reached certain agreements so that their issues are heard. They are not implemented. What causes the current strike right now is the issue of non-implementation of agreements.
But it's run by your alliance partner.
See, there is an employer-employee relationship here.
Yeah.
That's what you're dealing with.
Okay.
I don't look at my employer
As an alliance partner.
as an alliance partner. It's an employer-employee
Deal with them on
relationship.
that.
Yeah.
Sandile, you get the last question very briefly. Sandile, table number. You didn't put your table number. Where are you? Okay.
Thanks, Peter, and good morning to the leadership of Cosatu. On 2007 towards 2009, after Polokwane, we were talking about the decent job. We were wearing those T-shirts, and then now it was the issue of outsourcing to insourcing. And then it's when you are out, I will make an example because I'm staying in Alexandra. People are crossing through to Sandton, where barefooted, they just cross because of what we got. It's all end up being on the labor brokers. When you go to Longmeadow, there is a big distribution company, Pick and Pay. Labor brokers are playing with our sisters. There are other footage where...
Okay, I'm going to have to hurry you up because of time.
Okay.
Very quickly, get to your question.
Okay. Comrades Tum, we want to know when will be the end of labor broking and the issue of outsourcing. Now it's perpetrating, it's not now the issue of the EPWP. In Joburg, the city of Johannesburg is implemented a jobs at work.
Okay.
It's the same thing like the EPWP. Thank you.
Okay, all right. When will labor broking end? I think you're going to struggle in the Constitutional Court with this one, I've got a feeling. But anyway, when is it going to end in your view?
You asking the question, comrade, correctly so. And that's the question workers are asking every day. You talk on any station, they are raising this issue.
Yeah.
Yes, you will explain and say, but we are now on 3 months. They say, no, we don't want 3 months, we want a total ban. And I say to them...
I've run out of time, so give me a date, and then we'll finish the question afterwards.
The streets, go to the streets and fight.
Okay.
That's
all
what
right.
we must
Ladies
do.
and gentlemen, Dlamini, President of Cosatu, Tyotyo James, the First Deputy-President of Cosatu. Thank you very much, gentlemen. You at home, thank you very much for being part of the conversation, and to our audience here. Have a great day, everybody.
All right, thank you so very, very much, Peter. And thanks so much to your guests as well for taking part in quite a robust discussion, I must say, and viewers also taking to Twitter to enjoy it. In fact, taking it up to the #1 trending topic here in the country. So thank you very, very much for watching, everyone.